from which we all benefit. To all those who contributed in the year 2010 to the many events run or sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, I extend my heartfelt thanks. Your efforts paid off, as 2010 was a great year for the Chamber and for our towns. The selection of the Outstanding Chamber Person of the Year falls upon the immediate past president, and it is a very difficult task given the great number of people who gave so much during the year. There was, however, one person whose name kept coming back to me as I was thinking this through. That person is Lisa DeLeo, the owner of Lumina Salon. Now, having presided over the monthly board meetings whenever we sought a volunteer, Lisa's would be the first hand to go up. Though she is only in her second year on our board of directors, Lisa has been very involved with the phenomenally successful Women Celebrating event. Lumina Salon has been a premier sponsor of Women Celebrating for 3 years, donating a day of beauty to the raffle each year. Lisa was the volunteer coordinator for the year 2010 event and is the chair of Women Celebrating Committee this year. But what's great about Lisa is that she doesn't just volunteer her time. She recruits her whole staff. And they pitch in, and they give. So I really have to thank Lisa's partner, Kathy Petrella, and the entire staff of Lumina Salon for all that you do. Thank you so very much. In addition to her efforts for Women Celebrating, for the past 2 years, Lisa has been a sponsor of the trolley for the Reading Holiday Light Festival and has been a tremendous help in making that festival a success each year. She has been a gold sponsor of the annual Run for Your Supper 5K road race and has been a whole sponsor of the golf tournament, as well as contributing raffle prizes and her time and effort. And she has been an active member of numerous other chamber-sponsored events and committees. But above and beyond her chamber activities, the other causes that Lisa is involved with show what a truly kind and compassionate and special person that she is. Lumina Salon participates in Pink Hair for Hope by attaching pink hair extensions and donating all of the proceeds to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Lumina regularly cuts hair and donates Locks of Love, which provides hair pieces to financially disadvantaged children. Lumina regularly cuts hair and donates to Locks of Love, which provides hair pieces to financially disadvantaged children who suffer hair loss from any diagnosis. Last year at the Reading Street Fair, Lumina set up shop on Haven Street and donated all of the proceeds from cutting hair to Sisters Against Ovarian Cancer through Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital. And one of my favorites, Lumina created a day of beauty for the girls of EMARC. On the day of EMARC's formal dance, the salon is closed to business, and the girls are treated to a day of hairstyles and manicures and are given wrist corsages. It's the best day of their life. For the EMARC Tucker Gala, Lumina donates a day of beauty basket for the raffle. Lisa and Lumina regularly contribute to the numerous worthy causes and associations that come soliciting, often donating gift baskets. For all these generous acts, and for being such a great person, it is my privilege and honor to present to you Lisa DeLeo with the Chamber of Commerce 2010 Outstanding Member Award.
Speechless, total surprise, and all I can say is thank you, and that Lumina is celebrating our 3rd year in Reading in April, and Kathy and I are more than thrilled to be here and the chamber has been a wonderful experience for both of us. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Lisa. All right, so we're going to start now with our public officials, our public safety personnel, and I'm going to introduce to you Chief James Cormier, who will present to the Reading Police Officer of the Year, Sergeant David Clark.
I don't want Priscilla to have to move the mic for me. I'm a little jealous of Bill. I usually go first, and it's nice to be done first as well. First of all, good evening to everybody. I'd like to begin by thanking the North Reading Chamber of Commerce for their organization, again, of this event. The men and women of the Reading Police Department truly appreciate the Chamber's efforts in recognizing the outstanding citizen, Chamber Member of the Year, as well as police and firefighter for North Reading and the town of Reading. It's truly an event that we look forward to annually. Each year, this event, however, does bring a challenge. It's kind of a good challenge. You know, in the Reading Police Department, we're very blessed to have so many very talented and outstanding people who work in our department, and it's very difficult to pick one out of the group to recognize. I believe that each year, though, we do kind of get it right, and over the course of many years, we're able to recognize all of those people that deserve to be recognized. I would like to also take the opportunity to wish congratulations to all of the award recipients. It is recognition and events such as this that make the North Reading area such a special place to live. I've lived here my entire life, and I really look forward to raising my young family here and having such a great audience and people, business people, community members to participate in events like this really make it special. It's not done this way everywhere in the world, that's for sure. The award recipients should be very proud of the service that they provide to the advancement of the respective communities. We're very fortunate to have people such as these recipients to further our values and traditions, and I'd like to congratulate them all and thank them for their service. This year, the Reading Police Department has chosen Sergeant David Clark to be the recipient of the Officer of the Year Award. This is Sergeant Clark's second such recognition. This past year, Sergeant Clark was the shift supervisor on the 4 p.m. to 12 midnight shift on December 26, 2010. On this particular night, there was a raging snowstorm, hard to believe for this past winter, and most people had settled themselves into their homes to wait out yet another winter storm. In the early evening hours, at least 2 men attempted to rob at gunpoint the Kohl's department store in Woburn. As a result of this attempted armed robbery, Woburn police officer John B. Jack McGuire was killed in a violent shootout in the middle of Washington Street in Woburn, as Officer McGuire put himself between a career criminal and the residents of a neighborhood that abuts the Kohl's department store. Prior to being killed, Officer McGuire shot and killed one of the perpetrators. Let us never forget the sacrifice that Officer McGuire made that night. It was truly selfless. The Kohl's department store in Woburn is within just a few hundred yards of the Reading town line. As a result of the robbery attempt and the ensuing gun battle, a request for mutual aid was received from the Woburn Police Department. Sergeant Clark, along with Officers Kevin Brown, Kristen Stasiak, Michael Bouvier, and Mark Mellon, responded to the request for assistance. Dispatcher Susan Tapley and Ryan Mahoney expertly kept the lines of communication open in what was soon to be a very chaotic scene. As a result of the incident, Washington Street in Woburn and West Street in Reading were closed, and a manhunt for additional suspects had begun. It was known that at least one other suspect was at large and possibly in the residential neighborhood directly abutting the department store. Sergeant Clark was one of the first supervisory officers to arrive on the scene. The commanding officer from the Woburn Police Department delegated the Reading side of the crime scene to Sergeant Clark for his managing of it. Sergeant Clark immediately assessed the scene and determined a course of action. He secured a perimeter to prevent anyone from leaving or entering the area. As officers from many area jurisdictions arrived, including both local and state agencies, Sergeant Clark organized them into squads, ensured that they were properly equipped, and assigned them to search areas. Sergeant Clark used methodical techniques to ensure that the area was searched systematically and thoroughly. Sergeant Clark not only oversaw the managing of a chaotic crime scene and a suspect search in the middle of a blizzard, but also kept focus on his responsibilities to the community of Reading. knowing that our resources had been taxed at this scene and would be for an extended period of time. He used our mutual aid resources and made arrangements for our outstanding working partners from the North Reading Police Department to assist in some coverage in Reading while we assisted Woburn. This was the essence of the mutual aid system that we have in the Commonwealth. Sergeant Clark was also able to keep in mind the seriousness of the situation, made contact with his supervisors to ensure that they had knowledge of the situation and could make critical decisions on staffing and resource allocation. At the end of the horrific situation, due to the rapid response by many agencies and the coordinated efforts of all involved, 2 other suspects were apprehended that night. In the days and weeks that followed the murder of Officer McGuire, I had after-action meetings with the officers and dispatchers who were working that night, as well as consultations with officers from the Woburn Police Department. A common theme quickly surfaced from all of those conversations. Sergeant Clark was a leader amongst men and women that night in Woburn, as he is every night in the Reading Police Department. As officers from various jurisdictions arrived on scene, they looked to him for guidance. He remained calm in the face of chaos. He showed confidence and inspired confidence in the officers who were assigned to him. He displayed knowledge and professionalism in formulating the search teams and appropriately assigning them. And he displayed command presence. Officers who may have never met him before knew he was in charge and he had control of his emotions and the situation at hand. All of the officers who responded to the scene did an outstanding job in very difficult circumstances. I commend all of them. Sergeant Clark took a leadership role and led the men and women that night to ensure their safety and that of the public, and worked as a team to help apprehend 2 violent suspects. His actions on December 26, 2010 represent himself and the Reading Police Department in the best possible light. On behalf of the Reading Police Department and Chief Philip Mahoney of the Woburn Police Department, I'd like to thank Sergeant Clark for his leadership and congratulate him on the Officer of the Year award this year.
I'd like to thank everybody tonight. Very touched by this. That was a horrific night that night. It's bittersweet getting an award tonight due to the fact that mixed emotions, a terrible night, but being recognized for hard work on that terrible night, it's a mixed reaction for me. The night of December 26th was a tragic night, a night that you hope you never have to face. A horrific incident compounded by some of the worst weather conditions imaginable. We arrived on scene and observed a suspect lying in the street and watched officers perform CPR on Officer McGuire. But as often the case in a tragic event, perseverance and determination shine through. As officers from Reading, Woburn, Stoneham, Wakefield, Winchester, Burlington, Malden, and State Police arrived on scene, these individual agencies quickly became one cohesive unit as they broke off into search teams looking for an unknown number of suspects. For 3.5 hours in heavy snow and fierce winds, we searched for the suspects until all were caught. Reading officers stayed on their posts as they surrounded a house where we believe one of the suspects may have been hiding for 45 minutes, without complaint and refusing relief until the SWAT team arrived to clear the house. As we started to wrap things up that night, mixed emotions then took hold. Sadness and anger for a brother officer that was murdered. A sense of accomplishment that the criminals did not get away this time. A sense of pride as I watched Reading officers Kevin Brown, Kristen Stasiak, Mike Bouvier, and Mark Mullen walk over to the command post, mentally and physically exhausted, covered in snow and ice, but professional to the end. A job well done to dispatchers Sue Tapley and Ryan Mahoney, who not only had to deal with the situation at hand, but had to handle calls for service for Reading as well. Calls from numerous frantic residents asking for what was going on as they saw police officers run up and down their streets. And the constant calls from the pesky media demanding to know what was happening there. A feeling of gratitude for the Reading Fire Department, who responded to the scene not knowing if the scene was fully secure or not, and who gave their best effort in trying to save Officer McGuire's life. I thank you for that night.